Hey, you. Yeah, over there. The blue one that's drooling. Yeah, get over here. Hey, I see that tree over there. You want to build a better one? Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. You want me to show you how to make a better one? Let me show you how. Howdy, everybody. This is Mewingbeet. Welcome to my first tutorial ever. Today I'll be showing you guys how I build trees, a couple of tips, about 6 tips. And yeah, so I'm going to start off with the tips and then I'll get into showing off the trees I've made. You can see them in the background. And after that, I'll show you the speedruns of how I built them. So yeah, let's get started. So for the first tip, we have using light to dark leaves, right? So what that means is on a build, you go from light leaves to dark leaves underneath, or dark leaves to light leaves on top. Right now, this is my birch tree. It looks pretty cool. I like it. As you see, it looks kind of realistic in the way that the light is coming from the top, right? The light is coming from the top usually, and that means that the lightest leaves are going to be on top, whereas the darkest leaves are on the bottom. So I would depend on using a gradient like this one over here, where you go from spruce through all the oaks, all the other leaves, into azalea leaves, which are the brightest leaf in the game. So this really helps you, portray the idea of realism in your builds, and it really makes it look kind of realistic and comparing to real life. If you don't want them to be realistic, that still works. You could use a bunch of random blocks. Got stuck here. And it'd still be a good idea to, make it look like there's light coming from the top and shadow on the bottom. If you were to do something else, whereas the light was like coming from the side, you could also do that and build from the side instead of the bottom. So for the second tip, it's to use glass panes. It might seem kind of weird. You probably wonder like, why would I ever use glass panes on a tree, But here's an example of this. As you see, the glass panes are pulling at the bricks or the walls here, and it kind of extends the look, like it makes a bigger wall over here. If you want me to show this closer up, let's get some of these. Basically what's happening is you got, say, this, right? It kind of looks kind of it's okay. I mean, like, it works, especially if it's in leaves, it works, but it's not really connected and it kind of looks kind of iffy. But if you put glass panes on the sides like that, it connects them, right? This helps improve the look. It makes it, actually look like it's connected in the tree. It looks like all the branches are connected, and it doesn't take up too much space. So up here you see, that's what I've done here. It kind of pulls out all the blocks. It especially helps like over here, where from farther away, you can't really even notice the glass, and it just looks really nice. See that? I love that. It looks amazing. Now for the third tip, and it's on the birch tree again, it's to use leaves every other block. So what this means is, let's see an example over here. If you go to the top, you see like a weird pattern. You're probably wondering like, oh, why aren't you doing a block every other one? Well, the thing with this is that if you break it open, you see there's holes every other space, right? And it's kind of weird, like what does that do? So it helps you see inside the actual tree. It looks like there's branches in there, right? Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. If you take one of these fences, right? Let's make a comparison. There's a fence there and there's a fence there. If you just completely cover this fence with leaves, right? Just basically, it's nothing fancy, no moss. You just cover it with leaves like this. You can't see it at all, right? No angle, you can't see it or anything. You're basically blind. You don't know that there's a branch in there. You just see leaves. Like, I mean, some styles it works. Like, for example, on that tree, it works really well. Let me zoom in. But it's just like a stylistic choice. You can make it like this if you want, but if you want to be more realistic, you would use more of the see-through texture. So if you're trying to go for more realistic, what you try to do is you go every other block like this. Oh, that's an oopsie. You go every other block like this, and it improves the looks a lot. So see, you can actually see the fence right now, right? It's in the middle. You can see it. It looks like a branch. Same with those trees. So it looks like a branch is actually in there, and it helps improve the realism of the tree. And it also kind of helps you it gives you freedom to build around the branches. Like over here, you could actually see the branch from down here. It looks like a real tree. Over here too, you can see the branches. And it just gives you space, and it also helps you save materials, which is really good in the long run. Now for the fourth tip, it's going back to the tree. I was talking about this earlier, the cherry tree. Use more blocks, like a variety of blocks, to make a thicker tree, right? So here I have a palette down here. It's cherry blossom leaves, not pink planks, it's cherry planks, pink wool, and then cactus flowers. What happens here is that it's like a really stylistic choice, you know. Up here you got flowers that make the tree look bushy without using a texture pack or a mod. And you kind of just like, you know, vary out the colors, use similar colors, similar shading, and it helps make the tree look like stylistic. You know, sometimes this like trick is really good. I've seen them use it on Hermitcraft and other big servers. But yeah, it looks really cool. You know, you just gotta like vary it out. What I recommend doing is placing all these first, like a big blob of them, and then going over and replacing certain blocks. So like putting in these pink guys, or like the pink wool, and then putting flowers on top. You can also do this with moss, and you can also do this with this stuff over here. So if you use, you know, the nether soil stuff, you can put this crimson root on top of the nylium. Now this is the fifth tip. You know, this might be the biggest tip of them all actually. Is to use references. You know, I think a lot of people really hate to use references. I don't know why. Maybe it's just like, you know, afraid of being a copier, or just getting in trouble. But it's okay, you know. If you use a reference and make your own stuff, that's not copying, right? Copying is just using someone else's work and not giving them credit. So see here, I kind of inspired, these trees were heavily inspired by Scar's trees. I'll put a link up. But Scar's trees in the newest Hermitcraft season, where I took a reference. I used a similar build or block style. Over here we have, you know, the pale oak, the acacia, the spruce, and then we got tough and like dark to light leaves, like I was talking about earlier. But what I'm doing here is that I'm taking, you know, dark leaves, going up light, and I'm spiraling around and leaving the trunk exposed. You know, I would have literally never done this before just for fun or, you know, testing it out, but looking up a reference, it helped me a lot. It made me realize, you know, I could do this, and it made my tree look a lot more realistic. So don't be afraid to use references. You can use Pinterest, you can use, you know, YouTube videos, you can use just photos from real life, like just use a real tree photo. But those tend to be really, you know, detailed, and you want to make them a lot bigger. But if you're going for a smaller tree like this one, just, you know, minimize whatever reference you have, and, you know, be creative. So now the last tip I have for making trees in Minecraft is to, you know, be creative. It sounds kind of crazy. You would never think of that, but you need to be creative to actually, you know, make something cool. You have to oh, I ran into the tree I was going to show off. But you have to, you know, think about stuff. You have to invent stuff. You have to create stuff. You have to actually, you know, redo everything. Like this tree, for example, this or mushroom tree thing. It took me like 3 or 4 tries to get right, but I finally got it. I experimented with the blocks, experimented with all the, you know, the vines. This trunk took me forever. At first I tried using the cherry wood. I couldn't find anything to use it with. Like, it genuinely made me go crazy. But I tried a bunch of stuff. Oh, hi sheep. But I tried a bunch of stuff, and, you know, it started working out more, like using more purple stuff, you know, going up. This is like the same bark thing that's on there, the strip bark. And yeah, it came out looking like this. Looks pretty cool. But yeah, you got to be really creative with what you do. You have to try out a bunch of stuff, you know. You can't just do it all in the first. I mean, you can if you're like really, I don't know, like a psychopath, but you know, you got to try it a bunch of times, and you got to get it right eventually, you know. So yeah, be creative, use references, you know, do random things, and just try stuff out. Now we're gonna go over some common gradients and common like leaf things, and just things I put together over here. So this is the first gradient I have. This is the pine trees, or the spruce trees, whatever you call them. You can also call them like evergreens. This is a good style for them because it's grays, you know, mossy, cobble, andesite, tough. You could use all these in a gradient. You could also improve them by using spruce. Looks really good. Then over here we have this like brick texture style thing. I really like this. I've used this in my own series. Trees like this, I could show you over here. It's like a really small version. These are the leaves and all the building blocks. But this is the small version of the tree. Looks like a little shrub you would find in the overworld. Then there's just a bigger one. This is the best looking one, you know. The thick trunk to thin, you guys know that. And then, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Dark leaves to light leaves, the usual. And then over here we have a really big tree, you know. It's almost like a pine tree, or palm tree. And, yeah. It's a cool gradient. I like it. You might want to use different blocks though if you're going full size, because it's really just like the same thing. But when it's small, it works really well. Then another gradient is this one, the birch gradient. It looks amazing. You just need these blocks. You need diorite and you need this, and maybe a couple of those guys. But this is a beautiful gradient. I use it in this tree over here. Love this tree so much. This is honestly probably my favorite tree I've ever built. But yeah, amazing, you know, texture, amazing gradient there. You definitely want to use it if you like building birch. Then over here is the same gradient I used earlier, the big mushroom. Just a bunch of random blocks, you know. You just find blocks, you can put them down, especially creative. Use creative, because going in creative you can choose a bunch of blocks. You can see colors, how they match. And over here was just a bunch of wood stuff going from dark to light. I like it. There's a bunch of brown stuff too. You know, like I said earlier, just find a bunch of blocks in creative, go with it. And if you don't want to do creative, I'm lazy sometimes too. You can just freestyle it, just like, you know, find similar colors in the overworld. Then this is the leaves, from dark leaves to light leaves. There's a bird going crazy out there in my house. But yeah, dark leaves to light leaves. Moss you can use on trees. Like I showed you over there how I use those flowers. You can do that with the moss and put grass on top. It's kind of popular nowadays, actually. I see the Hermitcraft. But you can also use a bunch of like terracotta. You can use concrete too. You can use brain fart. But you can use wool. You can use, you know, powder. You can glass, especially. Glass is really cool. It makes the trees look like plasticky sometimes. Then we have this pink texture. That thing's going crazy. But we have this pink texture, or pink gradient. It looks really cool. You can use it with the cherry blossoms. All these blocks can be used. Surprisingly, this one does need to have water underneath it though, so, you know, because of the coral. And then over here is like a gray texture. You could use it from like, you know, pale trees. It goes from dark, or light to dark. Still simple rules, you know, dark to light, then you got, or light to dark. Then use, you know, references and the skip spaces. But yeah, now for the tree showcase, we're gonna go over here. This is the evergreens. You know, this is the simple gradient. We used that kind of wood. We used tough, mossy cobble, and some of these colors. You know, if you use too many, you're gonna go insane. But yeah, just use those. This is the big tree, smaller tree, and the littlest tree. They're pretty simple. You can definitely find references and build them online. And I've already shown you these ones. This is the gradient. This is the tree, the tiny one. This is the bigger, medium one, and this is the biggest one. This one went crazy. This is the bushes, the random bushes. But this is the birch tree. Looks beautiful. Love it. Just go around it. Enjoy it. This is the failed experiment, actually. This is what I was talking about. Like, you gotta test and experiment stuff. This one took me forever. Like, I still couldn't figure anything out. It made me angry because I couldn't figure out what the textures and colors should be. But after a bit, I decided to just go with dark oak, and it came out looking a lot better. And then finally, oh, that's the gradient for that one. Finally is this one. There's the gradient. Looks really cool. It glows in the dark. And yeah, it just took me a while. I love how this looks. These last three trees, the birch and the cherry blossom and the nether tree, the nether mushroom, are all going to be speed builds after this clip. So yeah. enjoy those, and I'll see you at the end. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you guys want more tutorials, let me know. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll come out with more. I'll gonna do a rock one soon and a terraforming one. Rock as in like just decorational rock, But yeah, just let me know what you guys thought in the comments, what I could do better. If you want more trees, let me know. I could do that too. I love building trees. They take a while, but they're fun to do. And yeah, I also have a series called Road to Hermitcraft where I try to, join Hermitcraft eventually, get better over time. So if you guys are interested in something like that, like a Let's Play type series, you can check that out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.